The city was drowning in rain that night, cold, relentless, merciless. Streets glistened with puddles reflecting the neon glow of passing cars, and thunder rolled over the skyline like the growl of an angry beast. Inside a black luxury car, Alexander Crane sat in silence. His jawline was sharp as the glass walls of his empire, and his heart, colder than the rain outside. The CEO of Crane Holdings, he was known for his ruthless decisions, his heartless terminations, and his belief that emotions were weaknesses for the poor. As the rain hammered against his tinted window, his driver slowed the car near a deserted park. "Sir, there's someone on the sidewalk," the driver murmured. Alexander didn't care, not until he saw the faint outline of a woman through the rain, a young woman, drenched to the bone, sitting on the wet ground, cradling something in her arms. "Keep going," Alexander said coldly, but his voice faltered when lightning flashed and he saw her clearly. She wasn't begging. She wasn't moving. She was feeding her baby. Under the storm, her body shivering, her clothes torn. The baby's small cries cut through the sound of rain, and something in Alexander's chest shifted, something he hadn't felt in years. Against his own instinct, he ordered, "Stop the car." When he stepped out, the cold hit him like knives, but he didn't feel it. He walked toward her slowly, rain soaking through his expensive coat. "You'll catch your death out here," he said, his tone distant. The woman looked up. Her eyes, blue, wide, and filled with exhaustion, met his. "It's just rain," she whispered, her lips trembling. He was hungry. Her voice was soft, almost apologetic, as if she had to justify her love. "Do you have anywhere to go?" Alexander asked, frowning. She hesitated. "I had, once," she murmured. "But they said we didn't belong." He didn't understand what that meant, but something about the way she said it made his chest tighten. "Get in the car," he said simply. She looked hesitant, clutching her baby closer. "Please, I won't hurt you," he added quickly, surprising himself. She finally nodded, and he helped her into the warmth of the car. The baby whimpered softly, and the driver handed her a towel. She held it like a gift. "What's your name?" Alexander asked. "Lena," she said. "And this is Eli." She smiled faintly at the baby, though her face was pale from exhaustion. "You shouldn't have been out there," he said. "Where's your family?" Her eyes fell. "Gone," she whispered. "All gone." Silence filled the car. He didn't press further, but his mind wouldn't stop racing. When they reached his penthouse, she tried to refuse entry. "I can't. I don't belong here," she said softly. "Nonsense," he replied, handing her a dry blanket. "No one deserves to sit in the rain with a child." For the first time in years, his voice carried warmth. That night, Alexander couldn't sleep. He watched from the hallway as Lena sat on the floor beside the heater, rocking her baby to sleep. Her lullaby was broken but tender, and it stirred something raw inside him. Memories of a woman with a similar voice, his mother, echoed in his mind. He had lost her when he was 10, and his father's words still haunted him. "Weakness destroys empires, Alexander." From that day, he buried his heart under money, numbers, and power. But now, seeing this girl who had nothing, no home, no family, no safety, yet still smiled at her child with love, it shattered something inside him. The next morning, he woke to the smell of oatmeal. Lena had made breakfast, her hair tied messily, her smile shy. "You didn't have to," he said, his voice rough. "You saved us." "It's the least I can do," she replied. The baby cooed, and for a brief moment, the cold CEO felt something warm in his chest. Days turned into a week. Lena helped around the penthouse quietly, always thanking him for even the smallest kindness. But Alexander noticed things. How she looked longingly out the window at mothers pushing strollers, how she flinched at thunder, how she whispered, "We'll be okay," to Eli every night. He wanted to ask about her past, but he couldn't bring himself to. He was afraid of what he might feel. One evening, he returned home early and found her standing by the balcony, rain falling again. She was crying silently. "What happened?" he asked. She turned, startled. "I just miss him," she whispered. "My husband. He died in an accident when Eli was only a week old. After that, his family threw me out. Said I brought bad luck." She smiled through tears. "So I kept walking, hoping to find someone kind. And I did. You." Alexander's throat tightened. He turned away, pretending to check his phone, but he couldn't hide the storm behind his eyes. For the first time, he realized, kindness wasn't weakness. It was strength. Outside, the rain poured harder. Inside, her heart began to thaw. The days that followed were different. Alexander started to notice things he had ignored all his life. The sound of laughter, the warmth of sunlight, the innocence of a child's smile. Lena's presence had turned his lifeless penthouse into something human. He found himself coming home earlier, bringing toys for Eli, learning to hold a baby for the first time, fumbling but smiling. His employees began to whisper, "The boss has changed." But he didn't care. The man who once fired people without emotion now found joy in watching a child giggle at bubbles. Yet the past wasn't done with him. One morning, his assistant stormed into his office with a file. "Sir, about the woman living with you." Alexander's eyes narrowed. "What about her?" The assistant hesitated. "She applied for a position here months ago, as a receptionist. HR rejected her, on your orders." Alexander froze. He opened the file, and there it was. Lena Brooks. He had denied her application himself, citing unsuitable background. Shame flooded him. The same woman he had turned away had found herself on the streets, with her child, because of his decision. He couldn't breathe. That night, he returned home, stood silently by her door, and whispered to himself, "What have I done?" He confessed to her the next day. "Lena, it was me," he said, voice breaking. "I rejected your job application. I'm the reason you were out there." She looked stunned, then smiled sadly. "Maybe," she said softly, "but if you hadn't, we wouldn't be here now." Her forgiveness was like light breaking through clouds. "You still believe in hope after everything?" he asked. She nodded. "Hope is the only thing I didn't lose." Alexander turned away, blinking hard. He realized how empty his millions were compared to the courage of this woman holding a baby in her arms, still smiling despite everything. A week later, Lena received a letter from the city welfare office. Her husband's debts had resurfaced, and without legal help, she'd lose custody of Eli. She broke down in tears. Alexander didn't hesitate. He called his lawyers, stormed through courtrooms, and for the first time in his life, fought not for profit, but for people. And when the verdict came, Lena kept her child. She hugged Alexander tightly, crying into his chest. "You didn't have to do this," she said. "Yes, I did," he whispered. "Because you taught me what it means to care." Months passed. Alexander changed everything. His company policies, his leadership, even his soul. He opened shelters, funded programs for single mothers, and named the first one, Eli's Hope. He no longer chased power. He built compassion. One evening, as he watched Lena and Eli playing by the garden, he realized something beautiful. He wasn't just helping her. She had saved him from becoming a man without a heart. He approached her quietly, and she smiled up at him. "You look different," she said. "Maybe because I finally learned how to live," he replied. She reached out, touching his hand gently. "Thank you, Alexander," she whispered, "for giving us a home." He looked at her, eyes soft. "No, Lena, you gave me one." As the sun set behind them, painting the sky in shades of golden peace, the once cold CEO stood holding a woman who had nothing but hope, and everything he never knew he needed. The rain no longer felt cold. It felt like life beginning again. And as the story ends, remember this: sometimes, kindness changes more than a life, it changes a soul. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more powerful tales that remind us what humanity truly means.